In 1950, Brazil believed the World Cup was already theirs. The tournament was being held in Brazil. The final match was being played in Rio de Janeiro, and inside the Maracanazo stadium, nearly 200,000 people had gathered to watch what they thought would be the greatest day in Brazilian football history. Brazil didn't even need to win. All they needed was a draw against Uruguay. You see, the format back then was very odd. There was a group of 4 fighting for the cup. There were no semifinals and no final, just a regular group. All Brazil had to do was not lose. For most of the match, everything seemed to be going to plan. Brazil scored first. The stadium exploded. To the fans watching, it didn't feel like hope anymore. It felt like confirmation. Brazil were going to be world champions. But then Uruguay equalized, and suddenly the noise inside the stadium began to change. The singing got quieter, the confidence started to disappear. Then, in the 79th minute, Uruguay's Alcides Gijia ran down the right side of the pitch. He shot toward goal, and the ball slipped past Brazil's goalkeeper Moacir Barbosa. Uruguay 2, Brazil 1. The stadium fell silent, not quiet, silent. Nearly 200,000 people, frozen in disbelief. The defeat became known as the Maracanazo, and for Brazil, it was more than a loss. It became a national trauma. Their white national team kit was abandoned forever. Their goalkeeper, Barbosa, was blamed for decades. There were stories of fans suffering heart attacks, stories of people being unable to handle the shock or even ending their lives. All of this over a football game. In 1994, Colombia arrived at the World Cup with huge expectations. They had a talented team, they had confidence, they had beaten Argentina 5-0 in qualifying. Some people even believed Colombia could win the tournament, but Colombia in the early 1990s was not just a football country. It was a country living under fear, cartel violence, gambling, corruption, death threats. Football was connected to money, and money was connected to dangerous people. But Colombia in the early 1990s was not just a football country. It was a country living under fear. Cartel violence, gambling, corruption, death threats. Football was connected to money, and money was connected to dangerous people. Then Colombia played the United States. In the 35th minute, the ball was crossed low into the Colombian penalty area. Defender Andres Escobar slid in to stop it. He was trying to protect his goal. He was trying to save his team, but instead, the ball hit him and went into his own net. An own goal. The United States won the match 2-1. Colombia were eliminated from the World Cup. And in that moment, Andres Escobar became the face of a national disaster. But he was not a villain. He was not arrogant. He was not hated by his teammates. By all accounts, he was calm, respectful, and professional. After the elimination, he wrote that life does not end here. He tried to remind people that football was only a game, but some people did not see it that way. Days later, Escobar returned home to Medellin. On July 2, 1994, he was outside a nightclub. There was an argument. He was reportedly mocked over the own goal. Then he was shot and killed. Andres Escobar was only 27 years old. A man lost his life because of a mistake in a football match. The World Cup is supposed to create legends, but in 1994, it created a tragedy. In 1998, France hosted the World Cup. It was supposed to be a beautiful tournament. France would eventually win it. The streets would fill with joy, and for many people, it became one of the most memorable World Cups ever. But on June 21, 1998, something horrific happened outside the stadium. Germany had just played Yugoslavia in the city of Lens. The match ended in a draw. But after the game, German hooligans clashed with police. One of the officers on duty was Daniel Nivel. He was 43 years old, a husband, a father, just a man doing his job. Then a group of hooligans attacked him. He was beaten so brutally that he fell into a coma for 6 weeks. When he woke up, his life was never the same. He had permanent brain damage. He lost sight in one eye. He lost his sense of taste and smell. Part of his body was left paralyzed, and the most disturbing part is how pointless it was. There was no reason to do this, but unfortunately, it happened. On February 23, 2008, Arsenal travels to face Birmingham City. In the 3rd minute of the match, Arsenal striker Eduardo da Silva controls the ball in midfield. Birmingham defender Martin Taylor flies in with a high sliding tackle. Taylor misjudges the speed of the ball completely, and his studs plant directly into Eduardo's leg. Eduardo's left leg snaps, causing an open compound fracture and a full dislocation of his ankle. Referee Mike Dean immediately pulls out a straight red card to send Taylor off the pitch. The injury causes total chaos in the aftermath. Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger goes on live television demanding Taylor be banned from football for life.
Have a view on it?
Yes.
And did you think it was a straight red card?
I think this guy should never play football again. What is he doing on the football pitch?
While Taylor is subjected to over 80 death threats from furious fans, Eduardo's career is permanently altered, and he never returns to his peak form. On October 14, 2006, Chelsea is playing away against Reading. Just 20 seconds into the very first minute of the game, a long ball is cleared down the field. Chelsea goalkeeper Peter Cech races out, diving low to smother the ball. Reading attacker Stephen Hunt chases the loose ball and does not slow down. His knee collides directly with Cech's forehead with immense force. Cech immediately goes limp on the grass. The impact causes a depressed skull fracture. Doctors later reveal the bone fragments were driven deep into his skull, nearly costing him his life on the operating table. Hunt faces intense public scrutiny for the reckless challenge, and Cech is forced to wear his iconic protective headguard for the remaining 13 years of his career. On April 8, 1996, Manchester United hosts Coventry City. Only 2 minutes have ticked off the clock. Coventry wins an early corner kick, and defender David Busst charges into the penalty box, hunting for a rebound. He throws his body forward, colliding heavily with United defenders Dennis Irwin and Brian McClare. Busst gets trapped between both players as they attempt to clear the ball. The conflicting forces snap his leg, resulting in an extensive compound fracture. His tibia and fibula shatter, piercing directly through his skin. The sight is so graphic that United's goalkeeper, Peter Schmeichel, vomits right on the pitch and requires psychological counseling in the weeks following the match. The game is delayed for nearly 10 minutes as staff use water and sand to wash Bust's blood off the grass. Busst contracts a severe staphylococcus infection in the hospital, undergoes 22 surgeries, and is forced into immediate retirement. Instead of walking away from football, Busst immediately pivots into community coaching. For over 2 decades, he serves as the director of Coventry City's community program, expanding initiatives that help thousands of local kids and vulnerable adults with health, education, and social inclusion. Even with a right leg that he admits now looks like a shark bite from the surgeries, Busst still plays competitive over 50 veterans football today, and recently received a Lifetime Achievement Award for his 28 years of continuous service to the club and community. On August 14, 1981, a German Bundesliga match takes place between Arminia Bielefeld and Werder Bremen. 20 minutes into the first half, winger Ewald Lienen is sprinting down the sideline. Werder Bremen defender Norbert Siegmann launches into a desperate sliding challenge. Siegmann's sharp aluminum studs catch Lienen directly on the right thigh. The studs slice through his flesh, unzipping a massive 10-inch gash down his leg. The television cameras zoom in, revealing Lienen's thigh muscle completely split open, exposing the bare surface of his white bone to the open air. Adrenaline completely takes over. Lienen stands up on the broken skin, ignores his open leg, and runs toward the opposing manager, Otto Rehagel. Lienen screams and shakes his fist in total madness, accusing the manager of explicitly ordering Siegmann to hunt him down and play dirty. The foul results in a massive legal battle, with Lienen taking Siegmann and the manager to court for assault.